going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 993 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Everyone in the chat, drop what your Super Bowl plans are. Everyone knows that I'm a huge NFL fan, so
yeah, this
is a really exciting weekend for me.
That's you. Wait, is it this weekend? I thought it was next weekend.
It is this weekend. Is it not this Sunday? Am I losing my mind?
So there's usually like, I might be missing out. Yeah, because it wasn't last weekend that the AFC championships were, the division championships were. It was the week before that. I've lost track of time on all of that.
It's definitely this Sunday for sure.
And you're going to a Super Bowl party?
Probably, but you know what? My plans for the Super Bowl are, I'm gonna tune in to the Turning Point USA All-American halftime show because I'm a true patriot, and I hope all of you will do the same.
Oh, sorry, I have to do it with the other hand. I just I had to use that hand for the stream deck, so I had to use the other hand to salute.
Oh, Sevens, if you're boycotting Bad Bunny and him wearing a dress, because that's sissy stuff.
Exactly.
Red-blooded American man.
It's well, not just that. It's also Green Day. If you also want to protest lame Green Day, you can do that as well. But I don't know if Turning Point USA has like a pre-show to like. Are they only protesting Bad Bunny, or are they protesting the pre-show as well?
Someone reposted the Kid Rock performance from the RNC. I believe it was the RNC in 2024. And the crowd was not bumping. Like they were mostly retirement age and not really vibing with Kid Rock. So hopefully they can raise the vibes this time around.
Well, I mean, we've got Sexy Red performing for Trump admin officials. Can we not get something?
Yeah, that was fucking
else?
Weird, huh? That was weird.
I double checked. I read it. I'm like, that said what I thought it said, right? Trump official? Okay.
Sorry for my language. I mean, not like anyone cares about vulgarity anymore.
Yeah.
Let alone conservatives.
So we've learned. Guys, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into today, so don't boycott us. You should tune into the live stream today. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Remember to share the episodes, the segments, everything out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people in your life that you both love and hate. I'm sure there's at least one person in your life that you still talk to that secretly you don't like. You won't tell them, but you really don't like it when they hit you up. You should share it with them as well. And then if they disagree with our takes in the comments section, you should agree with us and then fight with them about it in the comments because it raises our engagement. It's the best thing you can do for us. What are we getting into today? Well, of course, number one being Olivia Dean, who won Best New Artist at the Grammys. And we didn't get into this earlier this week, but it looks like she might have been censored during her acceptance speech for, thanking Jesus. Right?
Yeah, weirdly, it didn't catch that much attention after the weekend because there was so much information and news about the Grammys, especially Billie Eilish's speech. But then this is getting circulated right now, and I hadn't seen it before. I'm not sure what to believe, though. Like, are people just looking for a reason to be outraged?
Yeah.
Or did they legitimately silence her when she tried to express her faith on stage? I think both are possible. So we'll talk about that.
Maybe they should girl cot. I see Ethan Miller in the chat
said,
I'm girl cotting, y'all.
What's girl cotting?
It's boycotting, but with girl dinner.
I mean, I would do that.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll girl cot the Bad Bunny halftime show.
Or it's not watching it, but then pretending like you're not mad about it.
So true.
It's
a passive aggressive version of boycotting something.
It's not watching Bad Bunny, but saying it's fine. Okay, it's fine.
Right, exactly.
Guys, we're going to talk more about Savannah Guthrie. That situation just keeps getting crazier. There are even a bunch of conspiracy theories that seem to be formulating about why this story is as big as it is. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Halle Berry, who gave an interview where she talked about the fact that after she won her Oscar for Best Actress, nothing changed. She says she was still black when she woke up the next morning. And this is actually a subset of many, many different actresses actresses, and there are even some actors too that have said this same thing, where they say they expect after they win their big Oscar moment, they get their best actor, best actress award, they think that everything's going to change. Suddenly the phone is going to ring off the hook. Turns out that doesn't seem to actually be the case, because most people in Hollywood, whether they want to admit it or not, if they're the ones holding the purse strings, they want to make money. They don't really care about whether you've won an Oscar unless you can make them more money. So we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you are ready, Mary, we can go. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, no girl cutting this stream. Let's do it.
So I don't know how much time we're going to dedicate to this, but there's not much to say about it other than this is yet another disappointment. There are new images out of Sophie Turner playing Lara Croft in the upcoming Tomb Raider series. And understandably, people are pissed at the wardrobe decisions here.
Okay, so I'm gonna preface here. We have to. I'm gonna give them a criticism, and then I'm gonna give them some grace. Okay.
Okay.
The grace I'm going to give them is that if you're shooting a television show and it's a ton of different episodes, you're gonna have a lot of scenes. So she's not inevitably going to be wearing the quintessential Lara Croft Tomb Raider outfit and everything. I will criticize this being one of the first things to come out as a press release. If we're to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they're not going to uglify this and turn it into slop that doesn't resemble its source material at all, then, and they actually do have her in the costume most of the time, then I would say that you should have led with those images, other than just that first promo image, which was clearly taken on a photography set. They should have gotten images from other scenes that more closely resemble what the general public thinks of when they think of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so if you're listening rather than watching, she is wearing some very sensible, loose-fitting cargo pants.
Well, it's raining out. She's just done a parachute jump. This was in the midst of filming an action scene.
Yeah, and she's got puffer vest on with a long sleeve underneath, and her hair back in the braid.
Here is an image. If you guys want to see the image they're talking about here, I can actually play this on screen.
Yeah.
So
she's doing her own stunts, which is cool.
Okay, let's go here. There it is. So there, again, I can't tell if that's her. I honestly can't tell if that's her or if that's a stunt person doing it.
Well, no, it says on the headline that Sophie Turner performed her own parachute stunt. So I'd be inclined to believe them.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, she's taking off the helmet there. They got the crane.
Yep.
All right. So, look, it's a little early. Actually, no, it's not too early to panic. It's never too early to panic when it comes to Hollywood. The idea here, I don't think it just goes back to the costume. I think it's the same problem we were talking about when we were talking about Devil Wears Prada, which is set images seem like they're always a bad idea now. First of all, 90% of the time, it's lit poorly. This is less of an issue for this because this is outside, so they're using natural lighting for something like this anyways. It's going to look at least kind of different, you would hope, by the time the show is lit, though these days, I'm not even sure if that's a fair thing to hope for, that it's going to look more attractive to the eye once it's color graded and matched to look what it's supposed to look like, assuming the show has its own color palette and style. But if it looks just like this, it's just going to look dark and gray, and it's just kind of depressing.
Okay, but if we're being honest, the criticism is not being aimed at the color grading or the lighting choices or the set. It's about what she's wearing. Obviously, people are dissatisfied with this character, not being portrayed as a sex symbol anymore. Like, that's really the problem here. Let's
look at how the media is going to cover for them, because that's what they're going to do over on comicbook.com. It says, in the new set photos of Sophie Turner that have made their way online, the actress can be seen in a full bodysuit that not only includes a big jacket, but long sleeves, pants, and naturally fingerless gloves. This image has drawn criticism from some fans for being unrecognizable to Lara Croft, which is patently untrue. Though Croft has long had a specific look across the Tomb Raider games, the shorts and the vest, notably along with her trademark two pistols, it's worth noting that across the games, she has developed a wardrobe that extends to not only more fashionable clothes, but also more practical ones. Here's the thing, though. Most people aren't looking for an amalgamation of all the ways in which the game has changed. If anything, you want to draw in the audience of people that maybe played the original Tomb Raider on PlayStation, and you're gathering some nostalgia for that. So you want to lean into the the stuff that actually represents what people remember it for, not what it grew to be. Now, you can do that. And most of the time, I think that when it comes to these shows, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt these days, especially with Fallout being as good as people, at least from everything that I've seen, people really, really enjoy Fallout. But it doesn't have the same baggage of Lara Croft being a sex symbol as Tomb Raider does.
Well, people are trying to justify this by saying, she's walking around in this cold, rainy terrain, and they're leaning into these elements of gritty realism in the series.
Am I the only one who's just over gritty realism?
Yeah, we don't need gritty realism in every movie and TV series. We were saying the exact same thing about The Devil Wears Prada, which isn't even an action movie or sci-fi. But everything, they're just obsessed with everything being realistic.
I wonder if a lot of this has to,
not the point.
It has to do with The Dark Knight being what it was in 2008, meaning before that, even if you want to count Batman Begins, which I've kind of made the argument before that I think Batman Begins is ultimately a better comic book movie because it has more comic book elements, whereas The Dark Knight is essentially a dark crime drama, and it contains some comic book elements. So in this case, the video game adaptation for this, you can do gritty and realistic, but the character of Tomb Raider, your target demographic isn't necessarily looking for that. They still look like, which one do they look at more fondly? The 2001 Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, which is absurd, pulp, and fun. Or do they look at the 2018 Alicia Vikander one, which went with a more realistic tone and nobody remembers whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more illustrating that they shouldn't have, readapted this IP at all.
Well, no, not until they're willing
people were going to complain no matter what.
Not until they're willing to lean into the things that they know the public wants to see.
Yeah, but even if they did, I think it would still be just totally pointless venture. They're just retreading old territory. It's already been done. Why do we need to do it again?
So is there an example that you can think of something where people were like, look, I was actually having this thought the other night. It's another one of those half-formed thoughts where I was like, is there any franchise that really in your mind brings about some level of real excitement upon readaptation? I can't think of any. I guess right now some people are excited about, what is it, like, Fallout, but that's its own adaptation. It's its own new thing. I can't think of anything that is.
What do you mean it's its own thing?
Like, it's not being
it's
based on a video game, but it's not being readapted. Okay?
Right.
Like
it hasn't gone through multiple layers of adaptation yet.
I can't think of anything outside of, I guess, Spider-Man still gets some excitement. Or I guess Batman gets some excitement upon readaptation. But what they're learning is that those characters are the exception and not the rule. And that just because it was done 15 years ago doesn't mean that people are going to be clamoring for something new. Oh, you could say Mario, I guess, because they made a Mario movie with John Leguizamo, and now they're making buku bucks off of the Mario movie with Jack Black.
Well, I think adapting something from a video game into a series or a movie is different than adapting a series that was based on a video game into another series, or adapting a movie that was based on a video game into another movie. So like at that point, we're just spiraling into postmodern. Yeah. Like it's just a repetition of like references upon references upon references.
Okay, Highlander.
That's what people find exhausting.
Kloonberg is right. People mentioned Highlander, and people are fairly excited about the Highlander reboot because it has Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill tends to bring a lot of goodwill to the projects that he does. That might be, but that's not a trailer. There's just first look images for that. So maybe we can look at that later and think of something like that. But I've got more bad news for everybody. So I got some flack for not liking the trailer for Masters of the Universe. I thought it just looked like a Marvel movie. And I don't have a strong attachment to He-Man. I posted a picture of me when I was very young. I was given a Skeletor staff for Christmas. So I was always destined to hate this. But if you're looking for more reasons to be skeptical of the upcoming He-Man movie, this was a quote from the director of the film, Travis Knight, who says that Skeletor is, quote, the embodiment of toxic masculinity in Masters of the Universe. Jared Leto is the embodiment of toxic masculinity, so.
Is he saying that as a good thing?
No, I mean, yes, I get, yeah, because Skeletor's the bad guy. So he's saying the bad guy in this movie is the embodiment of toxic masculinity.
The article says, from the moment he hit toy shelves, Skeletor proved an instant classic villain. Just as He-Man is a cartoonish extreme of heroism, his nemesis is a cartoonish extreme of evil. Enough said. And in his Masters of the Universe movie, Travis Knight is playing it straight. His Skeletor is a faithful recreation of the original character, right down to the eye sockets.
Can we just
He said Skeletor was a really interesting villain. He looked cool, he was scary, he was funny, he was insecure, and then, of course, he had a distinctive voice. I wanted someone to craft their own version of that. Jared approached us because he loves Skeletor and has his own history with the character. He wanted to swing for the fences, and ultimately we landed on something I'm really happy with. Skeletor is kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity. He didn't really expand on it much further than that.
I mean, they're kind of losing because it's like, okay, he's toxic masculinity. Why does he look so cool then?
But also, Jared Leto is clearly box office radioactive material at this point, so that's another mark against it already.
What are his so it was Tron, Morbius. What are his other recent failures? He's had some others too. It's not just those two.
Really?
A lot of people were like, I can't believe they're still giving him roles after, the allegations came out.
So yeah, Tron Ares flopped. Morbius was obviously a historical flop. House of Gucci was 2021.
That was a TV show though, right? Or am I wrong about that? Was that a series or a movie?
I think it was a series, yeah. Okay. And then there was one called We Crashed, which is about, he plays the co-founder of WeWork in the series. Okay. Which got a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics.
Funny how Burned Oils in the chat says Jared Leto has creepy cult leader written all over his face. That's
he does.
He does. All right.
It's actually real. He does in fact run a creepy cult.
All right, let's move on. Hello there, fellow kids.
Yeah, it feels like 2024 was 10 years ago. It's crazy to think about, but during the election season, Kamala Harris's team created a social media presence under the username Kamala HQ. And they built an impressive following at the time, leaning into the brat summer trend with the lime green aesthetic and Arial font. Now she wants to leverage that social media platform into something new, which she is calling Headquarters. And they named it Headquarters 6-7 to relate to the kids. Here's her announcement video.
Here we go.
Madam Vice President, what's going on with Kamala HQ? I'm so glad you asked. I have good news. So Kamala HQ is turning into Headquarters, and it's where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great, courageous leaders. Be they elected leaders, community leaders, civic leaders, faith leaders, young leaders. I'm really excited about it. Stay engaged and
a new Gen Z-led progressive content hub.
Can we ask why, like, a lady who was almost the president of the United States, shouldn't they have given her like one of those detachable microphones? Like, shouldn't she have a lav mic to do this?
No, I think they're trying to lean into like this casual vibe, we're just hopping on the internet and chatting and,
given the speed
we're relatable and
given the speed at which trends move, naming anything 6-7 is like, you're already out of date.
Well, yeah. And then they ended up actually changing the username shortly after to Headquarters 68 _ because they were, I guess, getting too much heat for putting 6-7 in the username. I don't really know. And then they made their bio, Elon wouldn't give us at Headquarters. So that's why they had to add 6-7 in there.
So is this, do you remember earlier the year, I guess, oh my gosh, this was over a year ago now, where they said that the Democrats were going to dump like $20 million into figuring out how to court men. And they were like, our big answer is Olivia Juliana. And that kind of fell apart. Like, is this another one of these initiatives that's like funded by some like political action committee?
Yes.
It's all dark money. It's coming from a bunch of billionaires. That is
that is literally what's happening.
Yes,
the
of course.
the headquarters initiative is teamed up with People for the American Way, which was founded by the TV producer Norman Lear, who died in 2023. But People for the American Way is also the home to Right Wing Watch, the smear organization that tries to, ruin the lives of people who were present at January 6th, etc. The ones who constantly peddle screenshots of right-wing group chats, and you already are aware of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So they're the ones who are behind headquarters, which is, as they put it, intended to mobilize young people against far-right extremism, which is super relatable and cool.
Can I ask a question? Like, look, I understand that sometimes when you have to, like, when you're a politician, you're a scumbag by nature. It's the nature of the business. Politicians are scumbags. But I would at least like, when they give the word vomit with their explanations for why they're doing things, to have some semblance. They say like the best lies are hidden between a kernel of truth. Right? There's got to be some truth in there. This quote: Vice President Harris has spent her entire career fighting for the voices of young people. Can I get a fact check? Like, when you were sending people to jail for smoking weed? Like, when
Which I'm not even opposed to, but that has nothing to do with young people.
When was she fighting for the voices of young people? Like, I would like at least some honesty.
And they are expanding headquarters across all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, X, and even Substack. Kamala posted this Substack blog about the launch of headquarters, saying, Donald Trump is not only the source of our problems, we must also look at the rise of the MAGA movement. Democrats must improve our ability to convey our message and reach every American, including Gen Z, who are now a larger generation than baby boomers and are one of our greatest assets as we confront the challenges ahead. That is why I've decided to revive my team's social media operation, Kamala HQ, which will now be known as Headquarters. I'm so proud of the campaign we built in 2024 and the ways Kamala HQ innovated online and brought new young voters into the conversation.
Which
meant doing TikTok dances to Brat remixes with Kamala sound bites spliced in.
Was there like a particularly viral clip that you can think of? The only viral things that I remember from that election were the bad ones, which was the one about like, I'm a man and I'm not afraid to vote for a woman. Meanwhile, he looks like he's never sat on the bed of a truck before. Like the gayest man you've ever seen sitting on the bed of a truck.
I don't remember his last name, but this guy, Mike something, he's the founder of White Guys for Harris. I think that's what it was called. I actually spoke to him yesterday.
You did? Where?
Yeah. I might be dropping information I'm not at liberty to say, but someone was debating him last night, and I was watching the debate, and this guy is just so pathetic. And what I asked him was, why do you show up to a political debate that's going to be viewed by thousands of people and expect to be taken seriously when you're here, dressed like a schlub in a hoodie with a logo on it, no less? And of course, he didn't have a response to that. But the whole vibe was like, I'm just a pathetic, harmless white dude, and I love Kamala because she's a boss bitch. Like, that was the vibe. So I guess that was their innovation in 2024 that they're trying to revive now.
So wait,
they say the goal of these accounts is to keep delivering latest information, but it won't just be bad news. We love good news too, and the accounts will share stories of leaders across the nation who are showing what it means to stand up and fight for the people and the future they deserve.
So are hoodies now not politically neutral?
I think that showing up to a serious political debate in front of a huge audience in a hoodie automatically discredits you, yes.
I keep meaning
we were talking about this earlier because of Kamala's wardrobe. She's constantly wearing pantsuits. And I did conclude that, unfortunately, that is necessary if you're going to be a female politician.
Yeah, I posited the idea that maybe they should, to throw off the person they're debating, wear a dress to the debates. It would be very interesting because I don't think we've ever seen that. Not at least. I mean, I don't watch the debates closely. Maybe Marianne Williamson did something like that. I have no idea. But like,
Marianne Williamson was the most formidable candidate amongst Democrats because she was actually feminine and didn't speak with such a screeching, grating tone of voice all the time. She leaned into that, and it was actually. She was quite a likable candidate for that reason.
I wonder if we will ever see, because a lot of people are saying that the Republicans will end up being the party that ends up having the first female president. I don't know if I believe that that's going to happen. It's certainly not going to be Kristi Noem, that's for sure.
I'm just hoping that never happens, personally. But I say this with zero political partisanship, zero bias. I say this simply as an observer of digital marketing trends. I am so tired of the casual tone that is being employed by both, nonprofit organizations and companies in social media posts. Kamala's headquarters initiative reintroduced itself by captioning its first Instagram post this year with the caption like, "Hey, we're back, LOL." And I was just like, this is so tiresome. Why do they, it feels condescending. And it reminded me of a post that was from the official DoorDash account on X back in January this year that said, "Ladies, if Saturday comes and you get snowed in with that man, there is nothing we can deliver to help. Please be choosy."
Oh boy.
And everyone is just, politics aside, so exhausted with this casual, fake relatable tone that they're using. Like, have some respect.
I mean, it's like
for
when
yourselves and the audience.
It's like when me and you talk about why Gwyneth Paltrow is endearing, because she's not relatable. There should be a political version of that where it's like, you don't seem accessible.
Yeah, we need to like bring back respectability.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
Yeah, so there is this revived discourse about the appeal of Sydney Sweeney compared to Sabrina Carpenter, which I'll admit has been done to death. But the reason I find it interesting is because Sydney Sweeney seems to be interested in garnering more of a female following, given that she has launched this lingerie line. And she got, I believe, $1 billion angel investment from Jeff Bezos himself in order to launch this line. So it's not like she really needs to sell that much to make it a success, but the angle, of course, is to become more relatable to a female audience. Hence the headline, "Sydney Sweeney says her lingerie line Siren isn't for guys. What's more girl's girl than owning your body?"
What you mean is her lingerie line CERN, for fans of the Large Hadron Collider who want to study
I
particle.
mispronounced it.
Yes, for all of the women who are into particle physics.
Yes, and this person posted about that headline saying, "I have a hot take that Sydney Sweeney's lingerie line is going to massively flop. The reason men don't buy lingerie and women are more competitive with their purchasing decisions, thus seeing Sweeney as a threat rather than a partner." And a lot of people responded to this, first of all, claiming that men do buy lingerie, which I would say that group of men is negligibly small.
Yes.
I don't mean to employ a pun there about negligee, but then is it true that women wouldn't buy lingerie from a woman that they see as aspirationally beautiful?
Well,
I wouldn't agree with that necessarily.
Maybe it has to do with where it's like Sofia Vergara, I think is who I'm thinking of, has a clothing line at Walmart or something like that. Is she not aspirational as far as conventional beauty standards?
Yeah, and of course Kim Kardashian has Skims, which is hugely successful, and Sabrina Carpenter actually did a commercial campaign for Skims that was really successful because they knew that Sabrina Carpenter is a fan favorite amongst the target demographic of Gen Z and millennial women.
This just feels like somebody doing the thing that everybody on X does, where they take a general concept and then they deconstruct with their own worldview, and it doesn't really conform to reality in a way that I can see.
But it is true that if Sydney Sweeney's goal is to garner a female fan base that will buy her products, that's going to be an uphill battle, given her reputation, whether or not she is to blame for that.
Does she
is
have a makeup line?
A star that mainly appeals to a male audience.
Does she have a makeup line?
No. I thought that she would be better off launching something gender neutral, like an alcohol brand, but this is what she went for.
That's what came up. That came up on the show the other day. We were talking. That came up on the show yesterday. Was like the idea that that's what most celebrities do. That's what the male celebrities do.
Yeah.
So Tom Holland did. That's what George Clooney did. That's what Stephen Amell did. They all start their own. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, like they all have their own alcohol brands.
There was a response to this that I wanted to share that said, men's takes about women's reactions to Sydney Sweeney are so brain dead, life is a movie coded. The women who don't like Sydney Sweeney aren't jealous of her or viewing her as competition. Sydney simply hasn't done anything to relate to women. In fact, almost every moment she's on camera or in print, she's actively engaging in behavior that many women find demeaning. There are hundreds of Hollywood stars with brands who are hot, blonde, have great personalities, tons of success and money, etc. Everything you'd claim women would hate them and see them as competition for. Yet women love them. The problem isn't this weird women hate women fantasy. It's Sydney, and I don't know why it's that big of a deal. No one has to like anyone, and very few are universally liked. And I would guess if those examples were listed, it would include women like Alex Earle or Alex Cooper or Sabrina Carpenter, of course. And I'm sure there are many others you could list that do have a majority female following, who are conventionally attractive, who are hot blondes, and they're not relatable in any way, shape, or form. Yet they still have a huge female following, and they're not seen as competition in the minds of their female fans. And I saw this one absolutely ridiculous response from a woman who said, my only real opinion on Sydney Sweeney is that she exudes a sort of smugness one has when they think they're getting away with it. Trying to elucidate deeper meaning is useless. What people say about her is true, and she thinks she's gotten away with it. What? And I'm just like, gotten away with what?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
What did she get away with? Is there like an explanation as to like what it is she's getting away with?
I think they mean like what they're saying about her is true in that she's racist.
She's
and
like
then
an alt-right Yahtzee?
She feels smug because she's gotten away with being racist. I don't even know. But like, clearly she hasn't gotten away with it because she's constantly getting criticized for it and mocked. Yeah. So that would be the opposite of reality. And then Sabrina Carpenter, on the other hand, has majority female fans, and men kind of have a distaste for her, it seems. Although I've seen plenty of men, simping for Sabrina Carpenter before. It's just not nearly on the level of Sydney Sweeney. But one response to Sabrina Carpenter's appearance at the Grammys said she is the most manufactured person I've ever seen.
It's from Craig, friend of the show.
Another one said Sabrina Carpenter comes across as a woman who marries a 70-year-old billionaire and only has sex with him once a month. She's like a female clavicular, more interested in mogging and being worshipped than actually getting laid. This appeals to the modern woman.
Okay, I don't see that at all.
And I think that they mean her music is centered around men. Obviously, it's all hypersexual lyrics. She's constantly posturing as being some kind of sex pot when, I, for one, find it truly incredible that she has any interest in men whatsoever.
Yeah,
they grudgingly puts up with having to have sex with them. I agree with that take, basically.
We watched the Muppet Show, the reboot of the Muppet Show made by Seth Rogen. I guess it's like a backdoor pilot episode. guest starring Sabrina Carpenter. It was fine. There was definitely sex jokes in there because they're like, ha ha ha, that's her character, so we have to get those jokes in there. At one point, I think Kermit the Frog is like, we're working some kinks out, and then she's like, I love a good kink, and I was like,
yeah, it's just like boring to me,
personally.
But I guess I'm not the type of person who would fall for that marketing angle anyway.
Yeah.
But I have a very simple explanation for why men tend to have a distaste for Sabrina Carpenter as opposed to Sydney Sweeney, and it really comes down to the way that they style themselves. Sabrina Carpenter looks like she would appeal to the male gaze if she didn't do her makeup the way she does.
Well, even so, that was something we pointed out while we were watching the Muppet show. She was like wearing not less makeup, but less extreme makeup, and she looked like a completely different person.
Yeah, she does. And there are plenty of photos of her online where she's not wearing makeup or very minimal makeup. And when those photos get posted, men are like, see, this is why men don't like her. She wears clown makeup and huge wigs and extensions and ends up looking like some clown caricature of a woman that was created by gay consultants instead of an actual woman.
Yeah.
Not to say that Sydney Sweeney doesn't wear heavy makeup. She often does. In fact, most often does on red carpets. But I would guess it's just not the same. They're not going for the same thing. But that's why I ultimately found the lingerie line to be such a puzzling move for Sydney's career, because she obviously knows that, she doesn't have a majority female following. It's probably like at least 80% men who follow her and like her and would buy products from her.
I did laugh at this photo that said like Sydney Sweeney with no makeup. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is engagement bait where she's just asking the question, but purposely putting a picture where she's very clearly wearing makeup, but she's very clearly wearing makeup.
Yeah. And there are plenty of photos of Sydney Sweeney not wearing makeup as well. But goes without saying that is a huge reason why people make character judgments on different celebrities. It's based on how they present themselves.
The fight for the soul of women is going on right now.
It will be interesting to see if the lingerie line actually does perform well. But I guess we'll never find out because it already is. It has a sugar daddy to fund it.
The jeans sold well, and the jeans were made for women. Is that just more likely that a guy is going to buy them for a woman if he went and bought them? Like a guy who's never... No guy is going out and buying his girlfriend jeans. Like
no, but I don't think they're buying their girlfriend lingerie either. That feels like such an outdated thing to do.
Well, then that means that if the jeans sold as well as they said they sold, that there is a female audience for her products.
I guess we'll have to see.
All right.
It remains to be seen.
What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see the cringe first. And it's funny because you guys were talking about fan conventions yesterday.
Yes.
I believe this cringe takes place at, looks like an anime convention. And I feel sorry for the people who have to run the booths and the vendors at these events, because this is what they have to put up with.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, Squirtle. Look at Psyduck in the flowers. POV after finals.
Yes, literally.
I'm an actor, so hey, I roll with it.
Do you like being an actor?
It says, are you buying something or not, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, and the most part, I'm also like a voice actor in a way.
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog from Sonic X. Hey kids, gotta go fast. I can also do Shadow, the ultimate life form. Whoa, Shadow, what are you doing here?
I can only hope that this is staged in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it is, but, you know.
No, I believe it.
Chaos symbols, but all you've done are Pokemon cards. Oh, you even got
Jesse and James?
James from Team Rocket.
You're close. You're like right there.
Jesse and James from Team Rocket.
Oh, okay.
Rizzed. She's just like, man, I don't make enough money for this. I do not get paid enough for this.
Bro heard a girl giggle and emptied the entire clip. All right, let's do cute of the day. My goodness. This is from Jake Scarborough. Says, this was Atari the cat letting me know how he felt about me sleeping in and delaying breakfast. Lost him just before COVID at the ripe old age of 16. A very fat 16. Well, that's a good lifetime for a cat, right? 16 is a long life. Very cute.
Well, R.I.P.
We'll do one more. From Cookie Don. Says, Frida enjoying being outside. Well, you must live someplace warm.
Aww.
Must be warm.
I love the feet.
Yep.
Very cute.
All right, let's move on.
So Olivia Dean is an up-and-coming pop star who won Best New Artist at the Grammys, to the dismay of many women who claim that she makes tradwife music. And they say that because most of her songs are about romance and love, which you're not allowed to do now. Her most popular song is called Man I Need. And I think just by the title alone, you can glean why she is so widely hated. She is, addressing this song. She is addressing this song to a man, and she is inviting him into her life to be the man that she needs. And you cannot, under any circumstances, imply that you need a man. Yeah. That is beyond the pale. Now, aside from that, We'll expand on that a little more, but she was thanking the audience during her acceptance speech for Best New Artist at the Grammys, and I am not sure why this didn't get more attention until this week, like later this week, but she allegedly thanked Jesus Christ during her speech, and that was bleeped out in the recording on TV. Like, you did not hear her say it, but lip readers are saying that she said Jesus and that it was silenced and censored during the live broadcast. And we can watch this video to see what we think, if that's true or not. I wouldn't doubt it.
Here we go. Let's listen to it.
Yeah, she said Jesus
Okay.
Christ, and they blurred it out.
It did sound like the audio went flat there, but Jelly Roll thanked God.
Well, that's the weird thing. I think you're allowed to make statements about God. But for some reason, when you name the person of Jesus Christ, that name is, I believe, far more controversial, actually.
Oh.
I think that you are allowed to make broad statements about God or faith, and that's not seen as nearly as controversial as naming the person of Jesus, in a setting like this.
Jesus is for everybody, he said. Is that what he said? So if he said Jesus, I don't think that that's necessarily in line then.
They might have, I'm not sure what the regulations are, but maybe they thought that she was exclaiming it, like using the Lord's name in vain.
That's
and
what the comment, the top comment underneath said that.
But I guess we'll never know if we don't have the uncensored version of the speech. But that's what a lot of people are arguing happened. And I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen.
Here's this was the post from Colin Rugg.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out. First of all, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening, Lord.
Says, thank you, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening. So he does use the name. He does not.
We have talked about this before at celebrity award shows, like when it's deemed acceptable to bring your faith or profess your faith on stage when you're accepting an award. And usually it's seen as more socially acceptable to be like sort of vague about it and basically say like, like you have to thank God, but then not really get more specific than that.
Yeah. We got 20 here from Francisco Sanchez Jr. He says, that doesn't look like an anime con. However, as someone who worked anime cons from 2008 to 2016, these conversations happened to me and the guys and the gals I worked with. In my case, the guys were usually fatter and sweatier.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, he looked okay.
Yeah,
actually. All right. Interestingly, I did see a post on a Christian subreddit about whether Christians believe it's acceptable to listen to Olivia Dean's music.
Okay.
and whether that is incompatible with the Christian faith. This person said, I recently posted a song to my Instagram from an artist I like named Olivia Dean. My mom sent me angry text messages and called me furious. She said I'm backsliding, behaving like a heathen because I'm misrepresenting myself and our family. She told me that listening to non-Christian music, no matter the genre, invites demons into your life and causes mental health issues. Even though I'm an adult, she still monitors my social media and reacts like I'm committing a sin if I repost something that isn't directly glorifying God or follow people that aren't Christian. She claims that people from church watch my stories and will formulate opinions about me because of it. I feel like she's blowing things way out of proportion. Is she in the right here?
That's like the most reasoned response I've ever heard to something like that. That lady's like 2 years away from becoming an atheist and hating her family.
I think that, you know, if your daughter is listening to Olivia Dean, you should be grateful because there are far worse influences in pop music than Olivia Dean. And I just know that based on what her most popular songs are. They're very wholesome in nature, which is why she's been deemed this controversial figure, especially by fan Twitter.
She has an inherently trustworthy face for some reason.
Yeah, she just seems trustworthy for some reason. I don't know if that's just a carefully curated facade.
I'm sure to an extent it is. I think the best way I described it when we were talking, I said, whoever did her makeup made it look like she did her makeup herself well, if that makes sense. Like, which curates a less manufactured image, which goes along with the subject matter of what she's making.
Yeah, and she has been public about being a Christian. She grew up Christian, and like many popular artists, she got her start in music through singing in church. And unlike Katy Perry, has not abandoned her faith in the process. But here were some of the reactions after she won Best New Artist from people who felt like she didn't deserve it. One said, I am still not a Lola Young fan, but I think Olivia Dean's Tradwife song makes me hate her more. Another one said, Olivia Dean seems like a sweetheart, but I just can't stomach those Tradwife songs of hers. Another one said, I need people to know that just because a woman makes music with no swearing in it doesn't mean it's Tradwife music. Leave Olivia Dean alone. So they're like defending her. Another one said, Olivia Dean is winning due to Trump. They think that she won Best New Artist because we live in the Trump regime.
Oh, is that what?
And Trump is rigging the Grammys, which would be hilarious.
I always suspect.
If he had the time of day to care about the Grammys, I mean, that would be more amusing than anything. And then another one said, this is what I was thinking. They're calling Olivia Dean a tradwife because her music isn't depressing. And it is true. Like, a lot of popular music now isn't even something that would be recognized as pop music 10 or 20 years ago because it sounds like a funeral. And it's about like mental health and like, you know, the subject matter is just so dark and it sounds so, you know, depressing and low frequency. And
well, it's like, this is what started. This started
bad.
Well over a decade ago. Now, remember when bands like Alt J and stuff were coming out and the beats per minute just came to a grinding halt with everything that was being made? It was all slow. It was all plotting. I mean, really, like, look how good you had it when Pumped Up Kicks came out and at least the songs about mass murder were poppy and upbeat.
Exactly. I think that's a lot of the reason why 2016 has been trending lately, because that was around like the last year when we had happy pop music, and now it's all gone downhill.
Like it was dying well before that.
It was already dying before that, but we still had like the tail end of the EDM phase of pop music.
Yeah.
And then it just went straight into
Billie Eilish and
SoundCloud rap and like music about drug addiction and mental illness. And
yeah, you can thank Juice WRLD and a lot of those other guys for that stuff.
Yeah, but
like,
on the other hand, you have
emo rap is unsightly and should never have been a thing.
Right. But on the other hand, you have Olivia Dean, who is making these upbeat, happy songs about being in love. And even the visuals in her music videos are very uplifting. Like she's dancing around in a flouncy skirt. And people also, of course, are going to deem that a dog whistle, that she's like wearing something that has a feminine silhouette. And she doesn't uglify herself in order to get popular. Like, this is something I saw. There's this podcast called The Meantime, which is, I think, run by an alternative music news site. Okay. But these two guys were talking about Billie Eilish's rise to fame and how she was like constantly doing all of these stunts in her music videos, like crying black goo out of her eyes and like sticking spiders in her mouth and, you know, pretending to be possessed and dyeing her hair all these crazy colors and dressing the way she does. It's like they were like thinking back on these older pop stars that were very successful in the 2000s, like Vanessa Carlton or
somebody in the chat, somebody in the chat mentioned make another Michelle Branch reference. Yes, you could
Michelle Branch. Yes, exactly. And they said, you know, you used to just get famous like as a normal person, like normal girls used to get famous. And that's just seemingly a thing of the past because you have to resort to all of these bizarre visuals and provocations in order to get attention now. And it's refreshing that Olivia Dean seems not to need to lean into that in order to get relevance.
You said she was wearing like what, like long flowing skirts?
Yeah, with like, you know, a cinched in waist and just a traditionally feminine.
See, I don't think that has anything to do with being feminine. I think it has to do with, it sounds modest to me. And that seems like
it's also relatively modest. Yes.
Like, I think it's more like Sabrina Carpenter wears stuff that's hypersexualized and feminine. It's just not modest. So I think it actually probably has more to do with the modesty of it, which used to be, I mean, it used to be a thing where the pop stars had a modest run towards the beginning. And then they, you know, went wild for you know, after that happened with like Nelly Furtado. I'm like, why is she doing this? She didn't need to do this. You know?
Yeah. But
hopefully
it seems
Jewel
like
never did that. My mom loved Jewel. I hope Jewel never had a hoe phase. I don't want to find out later that Jewel had a hoe phase.
Well, she did go a little nuts, but
that's okay.
Olivia Dean is bucking the trend, and I'm not personally a fan of her music, but I do think that she seems like a pleasant person at the very least.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah.
This case just keeps getting wilder.
Yeah, so as we are recording this, Savannah Guthrie's mother is still missing. It's still unknown who abducted her or why they abducted her. It's still unknown whether or not she is alive at this point. And Savannah Guthrie, understandably, of course, is still not back on the Today Show. And they've been consistently covering the story, which involves one of their top talent on the show on a daily basis, which is really a deviation from the normal tone of morning television.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because people who watch these shows, especially in the older generation, like they have a parasocial relationship with the hosts. And it really has this like family feeling to it. Like everyone is a part of the Today Show family. And it's this lighthearted break from the normal news cycle. And unfortunately, they've had to give daily updates on Savannah Guthrie's mother in the search that is still ongoing for her. And it turns out, since we last talked about this story, TMZ's report that they received a ransom note was proven untrue. They did receive a ransom note from someone who was pretending to be the abductor, but they found the person and arrested them because they were falsifying that. And still there is relatively nothing known about where Nancy Guthrie is or who held her captive or whether they have kept her alive. So this is getting weirder and weirder by the minute. The latest update is from a couple of days ago when Savannah Guthrie and her brother and sister sat down to record a video which in part was directed at the abductors, they were pleading with them to get in contact and make their demands clear. So we'll start this at 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. And by the way, I would like to clarify, since we mentioned it on Wednesday's show, obviously, since Savannah Guthrie's sister is sitting right next to her in this video, she is not a suspect in the abduction. That was just a rumor. She's, here with her brother and sister, and neither of them are involved in the abduction, to our knowledge.
All right, here we go.
We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
Okay.
Okay.
So still, they have no direct communication from the abductors. And now what I've noticed is people are hijacking this story for their own ends and making it into a conspiracy theory rabbit hole.
Yep.
And one reason is because of a particular moment in this video where Savannah Guthrie appears to repeat a line from the Silence of the Lambs movie. And we'll play the comparison here.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
It is. It is a stretch.
It's an uber stretch.
But people are taking this and running with it to say this is all a coordinated media psyop to, here, take a guess, distract us from the Epstein file drops.
Of course.
Yeah. This popular X account, Isaac's Army, which is named after Isaac Cappy, said Savannah Guthrie, the main anchor for the NBC morning show, her mother has been kidnapped, they put this in scare quotes, and is being held for ransom. This is a made-for-TV psyop to distract from the Epstein files, they claim. And another one added, I'm starting to get weird vibes about this Savannah Guthrie mother thing, and I'm crinkling up my tinfoil hat as we speak because there are some weird red flags all over the place. I'm sorry, I spend too much time online.
Yeah, so there was like a post yesterday, and I don't know what it was about this specific one, but it really annoyed me, where they were like, they meant no ill will by it, but it just spoke to the callous nature of the way we view these things, where somebody's like, they're like, the Savannah Guthrie case is just, it just gets crazier. What are y'all's theories? And I was just like, what? Bro, what? Like,
yeah,
it's just, you're so disconnected from reality to see it that way.
Right. And this other reply said, the fact that this is getting more coverage than Epstein is wild. I like Savannah Guthrie, but that video with her siblings felt creepy, staged, and emotionally flat. So, and then another person said that her brother in the video seemed unconcerned. Meanwhile, the sister was trying to cry crocodile tears because she couldn't make them happen. And it's like, you're kidding. A video of a family who are pleading for the return of their captive mother feels creepy.
Yeah.
There's something about a kidnapping that feels weird to you.
Yeah. There was
You're
also the claims that she was
wild.
There was also the claims that she was kidnapped by a drug cartel because Savannah Guthrie was going to do a story on a drug cartel that was not reported on by any reputable news outlet. Not that any news outlet is reputable, but they tend to aggregate more accurately.
That might have been the implication in this Candace Owens tweet, saying it goes without saying there is something wrong with the Savannah Guthrie story. And the issue is not Savannah Guthrie. The issue is it's Arizona, which is a political cartel, and Kash Patel is racing over there to play the hero.
I mean, I could buy it, but I'd have to see that there was actually a story like this that was actually going to get released. I could 100% buy a cartel doing something like this.
Well, many people are pointing to the fact that Savannah Guthrie conducted the exclusive interview with Virginia Giuffre back in 2019 about her being trafficked by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And the interview was obviously followed by Virginia's death last year. But this tweet, it makes such a heavy implication. It says, Virginia Giuffre was trafficked by Epstein to Prince Andrew. She revealed this in an interview with Savannah Guthrie and died in April 2025. This week, Savannah's mom was kidnapped. Is there a link?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, do you have anything else to say other than, is there a link? Like, do you have a reason to argue that? Another person is spreading what is said to be a photo of Savannah Guthrie and Ghislaine Maxwell at a party when she was, it appears, a child, but that doesn't make any sense with the timeline of her being born in 1971. And they're claiming that there's this photo of Savannah Guthrie and Ghislaine Maxwell in the same room. And they claim also that Savannah Guthrie's husband worked for the Clintons, scrubbing the internet of their crimes. And they say Nancy's sister, Christine, is a whole bonus rabbit hole. I think Savannah knows too much, and silence is the real ransom.
So there's a post here. I'm sorry. There's a comment here on Rumble from Jay Wink, says AZ. So Arizona has the Zeta cartel, so they could possibly pull this off. I mean, if that was true, why would they even bother with a kidnapping? Why not just, go the whole way?
What do you mean, like killing her?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they just do that?
Because I suppose the argument is that they would want to blackmail Savannah Guthrie out of covering the story that she was about to cover.
Way more moving parts to a kidnapping. Like it just.
And the other argument in regard to Epstein, I guess, is that Savannah Guthrie allegedly, has information about foul play in the death of Virginia Giuffre, and that they're blackmailing her into not revealing it.
There's a $20 super chat here from Corey Anderson. Says, everyone knows UFOs and aliens are used as smoke screens to the truth, not some liberal anchor's mom being kidnapped. I hope the mom is okay, but time is against her. Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly unlikely that she's alive, based on the item that it claimed that her pacemaker stopped syncing with her Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And also she's been going without medication that she needs to survive.
Yeah.
For this whole time that she's been missing. So it's unlikely that she is still alive.
So in the chat, somebody mentioned that TMZ is showing potential search radius right now. Yeah, there's a post up right now on there that says the alleged ransom letter in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping has a few details offering possible clues as to how far away she may have been taken from the Arizona home where she was abducted. If the letter to the FBI is legit, then the FBI and Savannah Guthrie have already talked about it, and publicly offers more clues as to where she might be. And they get into here about where that could possibly be in this radius. Looks like California, Mexico, Texas, parts of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado.
However, that was a video that Harvey Levin published before it was confirmed that the ransom note was fake.
Yeah.
So I would take that into account. But I am really just tired of the constant engagement baiting conjecture that is all over X about every last issue, especially this one, which involves someone like a real person, losing their life in all likelihood. You're saying that her own children are somehow in on it just because, you can throw some shit out there about how, Savannah Guthrie's brother didn't seem like he cared. It's just the same sentiment of people saying, Erica Kirk doesn't act like a real grieving widow. Because because Savannah Guthrie's brother didn't show up in this video literally sobbing the entire time, he doesn't care about his own mom.
Well, they always say, like, actual grief comes in waves, and people that are feigning caring have their face set, you know, the whole time, as opposed to being more relaxed because the grief is real or the anxiety is real. Like, who knows? It's an unknowable. It's like when we have to talk about the stupid body language experts at the trials and stuff like that.
It's just so divorced from actual human communication and empathy, and it puts a bad taste in my mouth when people talk like that.
Yeah, Kloonberg is right in the chat. He says TMZ literally breaks more news and is more accurate than the mainstream media. Honestly, yes. Most of the time, that is 110% true. Do they have their own bias? Yes, 110% as well. But they do tend to get on things quicker with more reliable sources than just about anybody.
And to their credit, they never did claim that that ransom note was verified. They were very honest that they did not have actual proof that it was from the abductors. So.
I mean, I would, like, if anybody's going to come up with, like, a random videotape proving a crime happened, it's going to be TMZ.
Yeah, that was something else that people were theorizing about, is like, what do you mean? Someone gets abducted from their home in 2026 and there's no footage to prove it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Not everyone has a Ring camera. I don't know what to tell you. Like, not everything is about Epstein or, like, whatever your favorite pet conspiracy is.
Walt in the chat on Rumble says, I think you're overestimating the honesty of TMZ. No, I don't think of it as honest. I think of them as equal opportunity. They will take the story about anybody and cover it because all of it gets them clicks. And though I'm sure there's a bend to the people that read their site, I don't think of it as a political bend. I don't. Like, they cover Trump a lot, but they will cover just about anything. Well, think about when they got the video of Diddy and Cassie in the hallway, like years after it happened. Like, how did they get that? Like, what hotel concierge or security officer did they have to find who is disgruntled with their job to sell them that tape?
Yeah, they usually get on things first, and they have source material to prove it. So
yeah. I don't think that they're necessarily honest. I think that they're the true capitalists. They're equal opportunity.
TMZ continues being our favorite three-letter agency.
But it is fair to point out that they are the ones where people will go to and be like, look, we want to make the story out of this. Have your photographer here by 8 a.m. so we can get this picture of Amber Heard coming in with her makeup bruise on her face. So no, I'm not saying they're honest. I'm just saying that I would take them at their word before I would take a lot of politicians.
Very true.
All right, let's move on. We've got more to talk about. Halle Berry.
So I thought that this was a recycled headline, but it's only because actresses so often talk about what it meant for their career when they won an Oscar. And oftentimes they downplay the importance of winning an Oscar, which feels like a humble brag. Halle Berry recently spoke about the course of her career after winning an Oscar in 2002 in a new interview with The Cut, and basically said it did nothing for her career and that she was still hindered by the fact that she is a Black woman. And I had never actually seen her acceptance speech video before. It is truly cringeworthy. The way she was sobbing on stage about, you know, opening doors for women of color everywhere. It's so performative, especially not something I would expect to air back in 2002.
Yeah.
But it was for her role in Monsters Ball when she was 35 years old. She is now approaching 60, and she still hasn't let go of the narrative that she is a victim after all this time. And here was her full comment. Winning the trophy was a career highlight, but according to her, that Oscar didn't necessarily change the course of my career. After I won it, I thought there was going to be like a script truck showing outside my front door. While I was wildly proud of it, I was still Black that next morning. Directors were still saying, if we put a Black woman in this role, what does this mean for the story? Do I have to cast a Black man? Then it's a Black movie. Black movies don't sell overseas.
Is
Halle
that
Berry
actually,
once
can I ask you a
told
question?
3-time Oscar nominee Cynthia Erivo, "You deserve it, but I don't know what it's going to do to change your life. It cannot be the validation for what you do."
Can I ask you a question? Why are those questions bad? They want discernment when it comes to storytelling. One of the things that gets complained about is a lot of times they will just drop somebody into a role and not take their racial identity into account. That's what they talk about, like black actors being given white roles. So does it not, would they rather a script writer or a director or a casting agent drop them in without putting any thought into it at all?
Well, I think that they want the best of both worlds. They want DEI casting, but they also want everyone to ignore that DEI casting exists.
But
so
she's
that
not
they can get all
DEI
of the
casting.
credit.
She is not DEI casting. She is the quintessential example of somebody who made it in an industry at that time where before those mandates were put in place. One of the things I was talking about the other day when I was going over this story, I was trying to think about, because I can't say that her acting has ever been something that I've been hugely a fan of, because I don't watch a lot of movies that have led, that she's been the lead of or anything. But she is one of those examples when I would say that there was more charisma in the average actor back in the day. You can actually have a certain level of charisma and not necessarily be the best actor in the world. She had screen presence in the way that an Angelina Jolie had screen presence at that time. So I don't think of her as that type of casting.
No, I'm not saying that she's not talented or that she didn't earn her Oscar. Yeah. I'm actually saying that she feels that way about other people. Like she thinks that she thinks that DEI is a good thing and that you should be given a leg up in the industry because of your race or gender, but she doesn't want there to be any explicit conversation or admission that that's happening, because then that would feel like taking someone's participation trophy away from them. And this cut interview is so ridiculous in so many ways. The entire thing is basically her delivering her sob story about how hard it is to be Halle Berry and how hard it is to be menopausal and a black woman. And
Gavin Newsom could never.
Yeah. It's titled "Halle Berry Isn't Backing Down, in Love on Screen or from Her Righteous Feud with Gavin Newsom." And the reason why she has a feud with Gavin Newsom is because she has chosen her pet issue. It's menopausal care. And she says that he vetoed a healthcare bill that was going to provide insurance coverage for proven treatments for menopause symptoms. She said at a New York Times summit right before he went up on stage, "He has overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us in midlife. He probably should not be our next president either. Just saying." And the entire room went,
"Hopefully."
Thank you.
At least it didn't happen in the last segment.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Tonal issue. The problem.
But yeah, I'm sure you can imagine how awkward it was in a room at the New York Times summit when you say something bad about Gavin Newsom, no matter the reason. That room was dead silent when she said that. Anyway, so they're talking about her startup, which is called, I believe, Respite, and she is completely funding it herself. She has, I believe, promoted this product, which is an egg that you insert into your vagina, and it emits red light therapy to your hoo-ha.
We got a 20.
And that is...
We got a 20 that we missed here. I apologize, from Shane H. Wilder. He says, "Well, I think she has passed away. The pacemaker would not just quit syncing if she died. It would go into pacing to try and keep her heart pumping and would set it off set off the app to let them know. The battery can last for days." Thank you for that.
Okay. There is a possibility that she might live, but I just am not so sure at this point. So they go into this conversation about her menopause startup, and they say, "Once we sit down, she launches into a topic most of us will only broach after a few glasses of wine: dry vaginas. Look, it happens to more than 60% of women as we get older. Everything gets dry. If we talk about it and laugh about it, there's no more shame or embarrassment. It's a topic that she's passionate about. She founded a health platform focused on menopause care in 2020. I'm almost 60. Fighting for women's health feels like a formidable cause for my second act.
Is 60 the second act? Is that when the second act starts?
I suppose so.
Nobody told me when. I mean, if life is 3 acts, if it's a 3-act structure, wouldn't the third act start around that time?
Yeah, she's also past her 3rd marriage. She's gotten divorced 3 times, which definitely means you're the common denominator. That she's in a new relationship with Van Hunt.
Well, 6 years they've been together. Not
this
new.
guy, she has gone on talk shows with him to talk about her vaginal dryness and how it caused problems in their relationship.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. By the way,
and allegedly he has already proposed to her, and she has not said yes.
But she was wearing a ring.
Right, but she claims that she still has not accepted his proposal because she doesn't feel like marriage is necessary. I guess after doing it 3 times, she doesn't think marriage is necessary.
There was also this story, if you guys are looking for the to disprove the racial element of this necessarily. This was literally from January 15th, so of this year. Melissa Leo is an actress who says, winning an Oscar was not good for my career. Says, winning an Oscar has not been good for me or my career, she said. And while answering recent reader-submitted questions for The Guardian, she says, I didn't dream of it, I never wanted it, and I had a much better career before I won. Said it was better before I won.
Just a few weeks ago, Amanda Seyfried said the same thing. She said winning an Oscar isn't important, and nobody remembers who wins Oscars anyway. And the nomination is really what does more for your career opportunities. But this is a common refrain for a lot of actresses in that caliber.
She got Best Supporting Actress for the David O. Russell film, The Fighter, in 2000.
I just want to point out that when celebrities preach about these issues, it says more about their own issues and their own insecurities than anything. And it's really telling that Halle Berry still recounts this story from high school. She claims that she was very insecure about her skin tone as a teenager, but still was very popular in high school and was voted prom queen. And they say
so everything was good, but she was still not comfortable in her own skin, which just makes her a teenager, like every other
literal
teenager.
Prom queen is prom queen and then Oscar winner is still peddling a narrative that she's a victim, and with no evidence, of course. She claims that the faculty at her high school accused her of rigging the prom queen election.
Oh my gosh, we need a recount. We need a recount.
The faculty accused Halle Berry of stuffing the ballots and forced her to do a coin toss against a white student who was the runner-up. And inwardly, she says she was outraged at this. As a black girl, I was not the symbol of who they wanted for their queen. She realized the only way to overcome injustice was to square up against it.
Did Dominion voting machines, were they involved in this? We need to check and see just who was in charge of the ballot. Was there a 3 a.m. ballot dump at Halle Berry's high school?
This is the maturity level of your average A-list celebrity. They are still living in high school, and she is still ruminating on being questioned about her win as prom queen all these decades later, and imposes that onto the rest of society, that she is put upon and perpetually a victim.
It's time to let it go, right?
What if she actually did stuff the ballots? Honestly, what if she did?
That's the conspiracy theory.
They didn't just make that up out of nowhere, did they?
That's the conspiracy theory I want to hear about.
Okay, if she's approaching 60 now, I'm not that good at math, but she certainly wasn't in high school before integration. I think that we were well past the point where a black girl wouldn't have been allowed to win prom queen by the time she was in high school. Yeah. This just doesn't add up to me.
It'd have been the 80s that she was in high school or something like that. Am I getting that wrong? Somebody can let me.
She said, Another thing nobody really gets about me is that I've been a fighter my whole life. Fighting to be seen for who I really am, fighting to be taken seriously as an artist, and fighting the stigma of beauty. Like, you sound lame and self-obsessed.
I can't even, like, I remember, like, nothing from high school. Granted, I did a lot of drugs in my lifetime and probably, like, I don't remember, like, any. I don't have any harrowing stories of what it was like to be 5 feet tall in high school and have no, and have people make fun of you for being short.
I mean, people say that peaking in high school is a red flag, and that does certainly sound like Halle Berry's story, but also it is a big red flag if you still have a chip on your shoulder about high school.
She's the rare example in current year of the chip on your shoulder not being from a tech nerd.
Yeah, true.
Usually it's the tech nerds who have the chip on their shoulder from high school.
I'll correct myself. Her startup is called Respin.
Okay.
She said she's been dedicating all of her time and her money out of pocket for this startup. And she said, women are as confused as I am on this midlife journey, and I felt like I had to do something. They say her interest started when she was misdiagnosed with herpes after waking up in excruciating UTI from hell-like pain after sex with her boyfriend, Van Hunt. We were in the best relationship. Finally, I got it right after 3 divorces and 1 baby daddy. I found my person, and then this happened. 72 hours later, she found out from her doctor that it was not an STD. It was a lack of estrogen causing vaginal atrophy. She's gone on to tell that story on the Today Show and the Drew Barrymore Show with Van Hunt at her side. I asked her how her team felt about her broadcasting her age and menopause journey. She admits that they worried it might hurt her career. My first reaction was, but as a Black woman, it's always been an uphill battle, right? I had no fear. Bring it on.
Okay.
Like, this is just, she literally thinks that she is the main character of the entire universe and that everyone is rooting against her.
Maybe she is. Hell.
You know what? Fine. Sure. What the hell?
Maybe she
is.
Maybe
you're the ultimate victim. If that's what floats your boat,
she is
go right ahead and
she is the green M&M of...
She truly believes she is like the world's green M&M.
That is her. Sexy boots. Okay. Let's go to Super Chats.
Okay.
Guys, let's get to a second crisis party. We're like halfway there.
We're close. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Friday, Brett and Mary. I finally opened the chocolates I got at the Holy Cross Abbey in Virginia. Man, those Trappist monks can make some great chocolate.
Aren't there monks that make beer as well?
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
They make beer, they make coffee, they make chocolate, baked goods, all sorts of things. And actually, I could be wrong, but I think I did buy some whipped honey from Holy Cross Abbey, and I got the almond flavor. It was really good. You guys should try it.
Sounds good. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of almond, but... Defeater on Rumble says, if you told me it was hurtful, I would have stopped making fun of you for being short, Brett. The problem is, man, you gotta, oh, Mary, your microphone cut out. You gotta reset your microphone. Ha! That's her fault. Defeater said, if you told me it was hurtful, I would have stopped making fun of you. Like, that's the problem, though, man, is like, if you don't develop like a strong defense mechanism to those issues when you're growing up, you'll never make it in the world. You have to, if you have flaws. I just watched a video the other day of this guy. I watched this
Am
video.
I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay,
I was telling that. So I watched a video the other day of a guy who got the leg lengthening surgery, and he's like, it's the most ridiculous looking thing you could ever see now. His body is like this big and his legs are like that long and he looks ridiculous. And the dude he couldn't have been that short to begin with because he's like super tall now. So the dude was probably like 5'8". And guys like, you know what? I have to be ridiculously tall. And by that, it wouldn't even have made him ridiculously tall. He'd been like the height of Zachary Levi now, except for he looks like he's on fucking stilts.
Yeah, it never looks right.
You gotta.
After those surgeries.
Halle Berry could have learned a lesson to learn, some coping mechanisms when people are mean to you. You have to do that, or just don't care.
The leg lengthening surgery is kind of like a BBL for men. because people say similar things about the BBL where you have this huge ass, but for some reason your legs are really skinny, which doesn't happen naturally.
Yeah.
Like naturally, like all of those muscles would be larger if it were your genetic predisposition, but then you have like these skinny little chicken legs and a giant butt that makes you look like you have a full diaper.
So they
just never looks right.
They make videos now of like the people who have gotten the leg lengthening surgery where they go on their like leg lengthening journey and it's like them learning to walk again over the following year.
But wouldn't you want people to just think that you're naturally taller? Like, why would you want people to know that you got the surgery?
I know, right? Like, I guess there's some clout aspects there for...
It was like we were talking about with the allegation that Justin Bieber got a hair transplant procedure, which he almost certainly did. When I saw the screenshot of the up close on his buzz cut, it definitely looked like he got a hair transplant. And I realized, oh, that's why he was wearing those stupid beanies for like a year straight. He was hiding the healing from the surgery.
The funny thing about that is earlier this year, we were actually talking about like how I was like in 2013, he had like the opposite, whatever the opposite of a widow's peak is what he had. He had no widow's peak. His hair goes like around the corner of his head.
Yeah. But you get a hair transplant only to buzz all of your hair off, I guess. Yeah. That makes sense. Katie said, hi, Brett and Mary. A question for Mary. Is it for me, a non-Catholic, to take the Eucharist? My Anglican church does offer it. So, yeah, as a non-Catholic, you are definitely not supposed to receive the Eucharist at any Catholic church. That is definitely not allowed. But at your Anglican church, if you're an Anglican and you go to an Anglican church, yes, that's allowed.
I feel like that came up in like a discussion on X at some point in the last year, and there was like a long thread about it.
Why?
I think they were just talking about that, about receiving it at a church that wasn't theirs or something like that. And everybody shamed them in the comments, and I was sitting there with my popcorn reading everybody.
Well, at a Catholic church, at any Catholic church, you're only permitted to receive the Eucharist if you are a Catholic who is in a state of grace, to be clear.
Look at that hairline.
Yeah, I mean, his hair made him famous for a reason. He has great hair.
Back in 13.
I can't blame him for getting the hair transplant. If I were going bald as a guy, like if I were a guy going bald, I would 100% go to Turkey. I'll just admit that right here, right now. I absolutely would.
Yeah, my dad is 80 and still has his hair. It's thin, but he's still got his hair, so I'm hoping to hold on to...
You're blessed.
To all mine.
Genetically.
No, I didn't get the height, but I got the hair, so I've got that word. I always made the joke that my brother he's a little bit taller than me, and definitely had, I was like, he got all the good traits. I'm lopsided because I've got one leg that's longer than the other, two different color eyes. I'm basically like a Picasso painting, and my brother seemed more, normal looking.
I think it's better to have hair than be tall. Like, if you had to make the trade-off. Yeah. But also, one of those problems is easier to fix.
Yeah, and to me, it also benefited me, though, because skating was something that benefits from having a low center of gravity, so I just happened to fall into an activity that benefited from it, so height was never an issue for me.
I've heard that the medications that a lot of guys take for hair loss kind of F them up hormonally, so I would definitely say the transplant is a better way to go.
I will not dye my hair, though. Once I start going gray, I'm just going to accept it.
But blonde was such a good era for you.
Yeah, well, we can go back to that someday. So fun.
Corey Anderson said, no one will come at the Ghost Empress on X impugning her honor on my watch. Jay, watch yourself.
Who is Jay?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know who Jay is.
I've been trying not to pay much attention to all of it, but, I guess everybody who ever took a picture with Elijah Schaefer is on his roster.
Corn Pop says, Brett can't grow a real beard, people. That's fair. I wish my beard could grow in more fully, but I don't like being fully clean shaven.
Shane H. Wilder said, as a Houston fan, I've got no dog in the fight, so I'll go to Vespers as I usually do on Sundays. Might watch the rest of the game when I get back. Well, I only watch it for the commercials.
I just hope both teams have fun.
I don't know. I just want to hang out with people. That's why I'm going. Brian Bledsoe said, I was in the Texas delegation at the RNC, and when Kid Rock was on stage, there was a lot of slow nodding, but Hulk Hogan got us hyped, though.
Well, yeah.
The Kid Rock performance definitely seemed like it was a flop. I think they could have done the lighting up better. Like, the lights were just so bright in that room. So people were going to feel self-conscious about dancing, right?
You got to lower the lights and get the atmosphere going.
Robert Delara said, Mary, are you required to bring any Super Bowl snacks? I'm not, to my knowledge, bless you, required to bring any snacks to the Super Bowl party, because it's not my party, but I might. That's a good idea. Robert Delara said, for men, Sabrina Carpenter is too plastic. Sydney Sweeney seems you can have wings and a beer with.
So she's more of an everyday, like a guy's girl or something. Like what would that even be? Like a girl next door type.
I think what women find frustrating about that is that effortless beauty takes a lot of effort, and when men seem to be convinced that it actually is effortless, like that's frustrating because it actually takes a lot of time and thought and work to present that effortless image. And then Sabrina Carpenter, on the other hand, she's beautiful in a way that it's very obviously full of effort. So it just appeals to different audiences entirely. Francisco Sanchez Jr. said that doesn't look like an anime con.
I did that one, yeah.
Bender McSimpson said, here's some American dollars so Mary can buy a background. Okay, to be clear, guys, we do clarify this every once in a while. We don't keep the super chat money. It is still important that you super chat because
it keeps us on the air.
Revenue is what makes this show possible, but this does not go directly to our bank accounts. You should be aware of that. Robert Delara said, I don't know for sure, but I can't imagine God sending you to hell because you listened to Olivia Dean. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I mean, that's a funny conversation to have. To be like, really? I was playing it safe. Like, come on.
I mean, there's certainly some Christian music that's so bad it might send you to hell.
God's like, he's like, I'm not sending you to hell because Forrest Frank is blasphemous. It's just ass. Sorry.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, from looking at it, it seems more like she is taking the Lord's name in vain based on where she said Jesus' name in the sentence in the short clip. I mean, it's possible, but that might have also been their assumption. They were wrong. She is a Christian, though, so I would assume not.
Can you explain to me what it means to? Everybody's heard the term "take the Lord's name in vain," but what do they mean by that when they say that?
Well, if you exclaim Jesus in a sentence to, like the same way that you would use a curse word,
okay,
it's disrespectful inherently. It's like, if I were exasperated in one moment and then, randomly said your name in the middle of my exasperation, I was like, oh, Brett.
See, that's,
and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah, it's not my fault.
We actually sometimes, not us, but people do that to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Shane said, not saying she is. We need a better clip to tell. Yeah. It was unclear, but that's what a lot of people were theorizing. Corey Anderson said, apparently Brett has never seen Jules' Intuition video.
I have not. I mean, I only really remember Jewel from the first couple of albums, and it was kind of just folk rock. But, I mean, if she went through her own hoe phase, then I guess I was wrong. And I feel slighted.
Yeah. Boss N said $2 for conservative Karen Daria, you rock. Is that directed at me?
Well, I guess you would be the one with, but you're not wearing glasses. I've got the glasses, but I'm not a conservative, so.
I have gotten the Daria comparisons before, but not because I dress like Daria. Just the overall tone.
Okay.
And I am a proud Karen. I will proudly embrace that moniker.
I'm seeing some screenshots here from Intuition that look like they could be, little less than folk music.
Is that her hoe face?
I guess. I mean, it's not much of a hoe face, especially when you think
tame
about
hoe face.
It's a tame hoe
by
face,
today's standards.
You know?
Might have been different back then. Corey Anderson said, everyone... Oh, I think you read this one earlier. Corey said, I'm so tired of these people saying Erica isn't grieving properly. I've been married for 20 years in May, and God forbid anything happened to my wife. I'd probably be in extreme denial. Mind your own, people. Yeah, I'm just like, are all of you intimately familiar with grieving widows where you have something to judge her behavior off of? And even if you did know a grieving widow, that wouldn't even make you an expert on the subject.
Yeah.
It's just gross to me. Shane H. Wilder said, while I think she has passed away, was this the 20 from earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Corey Anderson said, is it possible to put money increments on the crisis meter so we can tell how much money is needed for the meter to go off?
We've looked into that in the past, and I've just never, I would have to ask Chris about that. But sometimes
I guess it would be possible, yeah.
The thing is, though, it wouldn't always work because some of the currency comes from overseas and exchange rates. It ends up being weird sometimes when we get currency from, like I saw, Katie sent one from Australia earlier. It's like the exchange rate ends up being funky.
Right. Corey Anderson said, Halle won an Oscar for playing Sean Combs' wife and sleeping with Sling Blade. No one made you play Catwoman.
That's true. She'll never be forgiven for playing. The funny thing about that is it's been so long since that movie came out. I think it came out in 2004. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I was like, wait, was that Halle Berry or was that Jada Pinkett Smith? It wasn't Jada Pinkett Smith, was it? It wasn't.
But with what we know about Halle Berry and her victim complex and narcissism, I'm honestly surprised that she did that Razzies appearance and was willing to like make fun of herself in that moment.
Yeah, but it was like, if anything, that shines a worse light on it. Then it wasn't being light with yourself. It was damage control, a form of damage control. But I would have liked to see them, like I always say, mean tweets were the best thing that ever happened to Hollywood before they started clapping back at the people who sent them in, because it makes you look awful when Joe Schmo 32 Electric Boogaloo gets you so mad that you get to then insult him on like live television. The whole point was like, somebody says something mean about you and then you make a sad face. And that was great. That's fantastic for your image.
That was also in a different era of social media in general, especially Twitter. Yep. Like people used to just hop on Twitter and like tweet something like, LOL, I'm laying in bed right now eating chips or something. And then that was what the platform was for.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I don't know. People just take it too seriously now. Like conspiracy theories aren't fun anymore.
It's like when Instagram
posting isn't fun anymore.
Before Instagram had stories, you didn't know what to fucking post on your timeline. So you just posted pictures of wherever you were.
Yeah, stories kind of ruined the main feed on Instagram because it was seen as like where you post the casual stuff. That goes on your story, it disappears. And then it creates this expectation that what you hard post, as it's called, has to be like some big deal. Like it needs to be some sort of announcement or a professional photo shoot or a brand deal.
Yeah.
When, 10 years ago, people were just posting like a picture of their coffee cup and then captioned it #coffee.
Hashtag
why
but
does it have to
first
be
coffee.
so serious now? Everything is so dour.
Andy Panda in the chat says, well, no, Brett, showing up and satiring yourself with a speech is not damage control. Didn't Sandra Bullock go to the Razzies to accept an award? I mean, I do think that is a form of damage control if we find out that she doesn't have a sense of humor and she actually takes stuff really seriously. Then I would say that it's a way of, kind of pushing it off and saying it doesn't bother you when it's possible that it does.
Do the Razzies still happen?
Yes, they do.
Year?
Yeah, they do.
Because it never makes any headlines.
Well, they got in trouble the other year for, what was the one? Like, they had to remove something because somebody got a Razzie that it was like racist or sexist or something. I don't know.
That it was racist to give them a Razzie?
Yeah. I forget what it was.
Well, that just ruins the Razzies.
Yeah.
But, okay, Sandra Bullock won an Oscar and a Razzie in the same year. Her Razzie was for Worst Actress in All About Steve. And she won Best Actress for The Blind Side.
Yeah.
I haven't seen All About Steve.
The guy from The Blind Side is like really sick. The actor from The Blind Side is like really sick. I saw that the other day.
Her self-deprecating acceptance speech is celebrated for turning potential embarrassment into a moment of goodwill. She later supported Dakota Johnson after she won a Razzie for Madam Web.
Yep.
Well deserved.
Damage control, but it's a good thing to do for your brand and your image. Just own it.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said she's been out of high school for 41 years and still complaining about it.
That's crazy.
Shit, I forgot about high school by the time I was 19. Yeah, I like look back at my yearbooks now and I cover up everyone's name and I try to guess their names. I only had like 60 people in my graduating class and I don't remember more than like 10 people's names.
Yeah, I got like a message last year from somebody I went to high school with who I've probably never spoken to since then, probably didn't even speak to them much in high school, asking if I was going to like my reunion, to our reunion. I was like, and I just like, I did not answer because that goes without saying, I'm not going.
I would totally go to a high school reunion. I guess it just hasn't been long enough. Mine will be, I'm guessing, in 2029 because I graduated in 2019. So,
but like, I don't have ill feelings towards high school. Like I'm not one of the people that had like a super bad experience. I was so divorced from it because I was skating all the time. I didn't hang out with really anybody at my high school because everybody that skated by that point that I went to school with had already quit. So I'd moved on and was hanging out with people in other cities. So I just don't have a relationship with my school that way.
I mean, I was also like pretty disengaged with high school by the time that I was a senior for less impressive reasons. Mainly that I was like chronically online and didn't really care about, I don't know. I just didn't care about all of the school goings-ons. Not that it mattered in the end. But
though weirdly enough now, when I look back at television shows or anything that are centered around schools and stuff, it's like I like the idea of people being, you know, dedicated to like where they grew up and where they went to school and having school pride because it's a cornerstone of Americana. You know, the idea of homecoming and football on Friday nights with the, you know, like a rival school and stuff. Like I'm gonna start rewatching Friday Night Lights. Olivia's gonna, I don't know if Olivia will like that one, but I'm gonna have to introduce her to Friday Night Lights. That was a great show.
I also agree with you though that I don't have any negative feelings about high school looking back on it either. And I feel like I didn't peak or hit my lowest in high school, and
that's a good thing.
People who attach that much emotional baggage to it, like good or bad, that's definitely a red flag.
Like so every television show, just yesterday, me and Alex were talking on the show about one of the tropes I hate the most on TV is Groundhog Day episodes where a character repeats themselves. The other trope that I hate the most is reunion episodes because they're never clever. The lead character in whatever show you're watching, who is now the height of cool and handsome or beautiful, is invariably always a nerd in high school with some neurosis. They're never just kind of like, it's fine. And I understand that's the point of storytelling, right? It's not interesting to tell the story of somebody who's like, you know, it was fine.
Ambivalent,
but like there's very little in the way of creativity when it comes to reunion episodes.
Well, and they always if the person was cool in high school, they have to like humiliate that character.
Yes, he peaked in high school. He's now a drunk.
Right.
Or he's like a used car salesman and he never left his town and he uses his high school clout to lord over the town that he's in.
Yeah.
The characters are never three-dimensional.
It illustrates the character flaws of people who work in Hollywood and write those scripts, really, more than anything. I did like the high school reunion episode in Psych, though. Do you remember that episode?
No, what happened?
I don't remember like all the plot details, but I thought it was a good episode.
I will say there was a funny one that they did for the show Leverage, where the character, because in the show, none of them actually went to this high school. They're literally running a con. And the character that Nate, the person that Nate has taken the identity of, because the idea is like nobody knows what anybody looks like now because so much time has passed. He gets punched in the face constantly by women that he apparently was indiscreet with when the guy he's portraying just happened to be a womanizer that used up a lot of women in high school, and they all punch him in the face. That was clever.
The main reason why I would go to a high school reunion is like that a lot of people wouldn't relate to is just because I know that I'll be returning to a bunch of people who share my faith and like my general values. So most people like didn't go to high school with, you know, someone who has that much in common with them.
So I go back and I'm like, yeah, they're like, well, what do you do for a living? What do you work in finance? Are you, what are you working on Wall Street?
And you're like,
you in tech? It's
I'm
like,
a racist podcaster.
Exactly.
Shane H. Wilder said, I didn't want to fly with the whipped honey, but they do have a website and planned on ordering some. Yeah, flying with whipped honey in your bag is just asking for trouble, but I do recommend it. And I was right. It was Holy Cross Abbey. Corey Anderson said, Sabrina's hair looks like trash, like an old doll that has been lying on its head for a decade.
Ew.
I mean, it's quite big and really overpowers her face, but only a woman or a gay man would have that opinion. So I don't know what that says about you. Shane H. Wilder said high school wasn't bad/good. It was just something I did.
You know, it's funny. Somebody on who was it? This over on Rumble said the football player. That's what you think of when you think of the person who peaked in high school, and it's all been downhill for that. But that's not usually what happens. That's why it's fantasy on behalf of the writers who were theater nerds.
Exactly.
The guy likely married a woman of his own looks match criteria, and he probably runs a small business. And he's whether you like him or not, he's a pillar of his community.
Yeah, usually people who are successful in high school, socially or academically, become successful in other areas of their life in the future. It's definitely a fantasy from Hollywood that doesn't happen. And there's also a weird incongruence with, like, they portray the nerds as being the ones who excel academically but not socially, and then like the jocks and popular people are dumb but they excel socially. Usually those things go hand in hand. Like, people who are successful socially also excel professionally and academically. Like,
I mean, the idea there is like
charismatic also tend to be intelligent.
I mean, but the thing is, like, that's a trope of like the high school kids who need to keep a GPA to stay active, and not all of them necessarily meet that. Not because they're dumb. A lot of times, just literally because they're young and focused on the sports and not necessarily on their education. And when you shift that focus to something else, you can then apply that same level of rigor that you have towards your, whatever your athletic endeavors were, to something else. The other thing that was funny about the Leverage episode, now that I think about it, you'll love this. In the Leverage episode, they're going undercover at a high school reunion because there's an evil tech dude who's selling, he's selling software to Iran to prevent the people of Iran from rising up against their government. And he is a tech nerd who wants to go back to his high school reunion because he's now a billionaire, and he wants to shove it in all their faces.
That is insane.
And they actually make fun of him for it, where they're like, everyone's just like, yeah, no, you're like his name is Larry Duberman, and they're calling him like Dooferman or something like that on purpose, and he gets really mad.
I feel like culturally we lost the archetype of the loser. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's not a nerd. Like, they're not bookish.
Mm-hmm.
They're also not into sports. Like, they're physically uncoordinated and have like quirks, like huge braces or huge glasses, but they're not like nerdy.
Mm.
they're true losers. Like, I feel like we lost that. Like Napoleon Dynamite.
I feel like
that right there is a loser. Like, where is that trope gone?
I feel like a lot of it is also like you hear a lot of people that say like I was never good at anything. Like normally the idea is like you're not good at sports, but the trope is that now you're good at computers or you're good with math or you're good at something else. Some people are like I was average in class. I wasn't particularly coordinated. I didn't really have anything going for me. And that's almost worse. Like, I think to a lot of people, especially in a world where they want to stand out. Like, you say it whether you like it or not. When you're awful at something, you stand out for being awful. Maybe they're like, I would rather stand out as bad at something than just be bleh at everything.
But the story about the loser is interesting when it's about them finding their own niche band of losers, and they can bond together over being losers.
Yeah.
It's not just a story about one individual journey.
Yeah.
Like in Napoleon Dynamite. Like that movie basically centers around like the friend group that he found.
Yeah.
Burned Oil said was very straight up from Mary that she admitted on that OnlyFans panel that thing that she had been bullied but also bullied people in school really got them good.
Is that true? I couldn't really
I don't
gather.
remember that moment.
So what did you say? He's saying that you were telling people that you got bullied in school, but you also bullied other people?
Yeah, I just don't remember how that might have come up in the conversation, but that is true. I was pretty mean and people were pretty mean to me back, and I guess that's only fair, and that's how you learn how to make your own way in the world, is testing the boundaries and, you know, learning what social expectations are.
The most I can think
probably
of,
for the best.
The most I can think of for myself is like because all of my friends lived so far away from me in a general consensus. As soon as high school ended, that was perfectly fine because I had the free time to spend my, when I wasn't at work, I was doing stuff elsewhere. But like during high school, it was like, I guess it was like, what does your friend group look like there? And you just kind of feel like you don't fit in. But that's just most people in high school. Even when they're popular, a lot of times they're still self-conscious because you're young and you don't have any life experience to compare it against. Again, if you've overly obsessed about these things, like you're already losing. That's the other thing. The second you go back to show them, you've lost. Like if you go back to stick it in their faces that you're big and successful now, you've lost anyways because
you still care.
You've let it like rot your brain.
Right. It's like getting trolled. Like you can't show that it upsets you.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, a woman's hair is the first thing a man notices, Mary, and if you're paying the amount of money Sabrina is paying, it should look better. No, I agree with you. I was just joshing with you there. But I think it's hair length and volume that men notice, and they also notice like a smile, like the facial expression.
I notice earlobes.
That's the most
first.
Important thing.
Earlobes, first thing I noticed.
Earlobes? Those are... Well, I mean, obviously having detached earlobes is superior to having attached ones, but...
Sometimes you see a woman and you see those earlobes and you're like, that is a trollop if I've ever seen one. That woman has whorish earlobes.
I feel like any hot woman has, like, something weird about her appearance. Like, for Megan Fox, it's her thumbs.
What?
For some of... Like, because Megan Fox famously has, like, the weird stumpy thumbs.
Oh, I didn't know
Like, there's
that.
always just something off about them. Or, like... a really hot woman who has the type of ears that like stick out like this.
I noticed that with actors now whenever they're gonna, like the guys who they're gonna get to play James Bond and they've all got fucking Dumbo ears, and I'm like, bro, get those things pinned back.
It's a very British trait for some reason.
Well, the actor who played Merlin in the show Merlin had the fucking...
It's such a simple thing to just pin those things back.
But he had like the shaggy hair, so it hid them. And then like a couple years later, I like went down the rabbit hole of like looking at pictures of him from each ear to figure out when he had them pinned back. It was around 2016, it seemed like.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, thought I'd let y'all know that my March for Life mini doc drops tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern everywhere. I'll tag y'all and hope y'all enjoy it. I'll also have a write-up Sunday for my Catholic Friends post.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad that you had a good experience. Marcos said, to answer your question from last time, I'm digging dirt to redo a flower bed in front of my house. Have a great weekend.
Awesome.
Well, that sounds very peaceful and meditative. Hope it goes well. Greg Duvier said also the tech he was using out of date, so Hardison had difficulty stopping the old school computers?
Yeah, so in the show, in the episode, if I can remember correctly now, he had
sorry, there was a second one that said, read this one, let me try that again. Hardison had difficulty hacking his computer because it was so out of date.
Yeah, he was basically running like a Commodore 64, which is where all the information was hidden. So Hardison couldn't hack anything. They had to get physical access to the location, which meant that they had to send Elliot in to basically beat up bad guys and put like a floppy disk in, if I remember correctly, to hack the system or whatever.
No Control said, I notice how pointy her elbows are first.
Yeah, it's always a questionable thing right there when they got pointy elbows.
Well, everyone knows from the age-old debate on Pop Culture Crisis that the first thing men notice about a woman are her eyelashes.
Yeah, of course. It's the first thing they notice. They're like, wow, those are not long enough for me. They would say, look, those eyelashes are too long.
I will die on that hill. I will die on the hill that men do care about women's eyelashes. They do. It's important.
I don't know.
How many billions of dollars have been invested into market research for mascara?
Wasn't for nothing.
Why else would it be?
Yeah.
It's not for nothing. Men care about eyelashes.
I did see people having the discussion the other day about high-heeled shoes with one of those pictures where it shows like an x-ray of a woman's foot. And it's like, men will never know this pain, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my gosh.
And men are like, yeah, we literally would never care why you wear them. Like, why do you wear high heels? And then they kind of fundamentally misunderstand why they wear them. They're like, why would you want to be taller when it isn't really about being taller? It's about what it does to your calf muscles and your butt.
And the way you walk, it
Yes.
changes your posture and your gait in a way that, people can deny this all they want. But it has been proven time and time again that men do, in fact, find women more attractive when they're wearing high heels. It's just true.
I see somebody in the chat say, if she's wearing open-toed shoes, then I look at the feet. See, this is the thing. If you want to find out whether a woman spends any time on the internet, look for the open-toed shoes. Because if she has open-toed shoes, she probably doesn't spend a lot of time online.
It's about whether you post a picture.
If she's not worried about her feet getting put on to Wiki Feet, then she's probably not online that much.
Well, it's too late for me on that front. We have a $20 super chat without a message from the Seer. Thank you very much for that. I think that got us across the second party.
It did. Wait, how did you ended up? I think you ended up on Wiki Feet. How did they?
A long time ago. It's been
happen?
a while. It's been quite a while. I've been on Wiki Feet for, I don't even know how long at this point. Maybe a couple of years.
They caught you slipping?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really think it's worth worrying about.
Yeah.
Like, if you're some like sick person who has a fetish for like wrists, am I gonna not like post any pictures that show my wrists? Like, it's like there has to be a line.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let that loom over me. I'm not gonna let that destroy my peace. Do we have any Rumble rants? Because I think we're caught up on the super chats.
Caught up on Rumble. Shane H. Wilder says, if I could have do it again, I read that correctly. If I could do it again, I probably would not have tried so hard to have straight A's. Also, probably would not have been so chronically online as I was.
This is so relatable. Like, I don't know why I cared so much about getting good grades. I regret how much time I spent studying. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely regret caring about my grades like at all beyond just caring about passing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, grades truly don't matter. And people always say in response to that, well, it matters if you want to get into a good school. And it's like, most people are just not even going to be close to the point where they could get into a competitive, like, Ivy League school. So it doesn't matter for, like, 99% of people. And it just, like, sucked about a bunch of time out of my life. And like, I would say that I regret being chronically online during high school if it hadn't been for it leading to my current career path. So I guess no regrets on that.
On YouTube in the chat, Phil B says, "What the F is happening? My friend, that is what is called a crisis party. Every $100 in super chats, there is a crisis party." That's what was happening right there.
You know that we're like on the right track as a channel if people are continuously asking what the crisis party is, because that means we're getting new people in the chat. That's a good sign.
That's a sign
of health.
Thank you for joining us, Phil. We appreciate you being here. We have a super chat here from High Voltage 75. He says, "Yes, when I look at Sydney Sweeney, the first thing I notice is her big, beautiful eyelashes. Get real, Mary."
Well, guys, I'm not saying that the eyelashes are the most important thing, but you cannot dispute that they do matter, because I bet you would find men find women more attractive when they are wearing mascara. Like, it is also a sign of health to have long eyelashes. Just the same way as having long hair is a sign of health.
So there's a biological evolutionary explanation. Yeah. Okay.
There are some things that have no explanation. Like, I think it's the ring of like a darker pigment around the iris compared to the center of the iris. Like, if that's more defined, that's considered more attractive. There's no real explanation for that, but it's true.
All right, we got a couple more here. Shane H. Wilder says, "I didn't know about eyelashes per se. Eyes are the first thing I notice."
Right, but they're framed by the eyelashes. And I will say, men obviously find it like really unattractive when these female celebrities bleach their eyebrows. There's a very important reason for that, and it's because they do notice eyebrows as well. Like, that is a very important thing that frames the eyes.
Yeah. All right. Greg Duvier says, "I like turtles and all lanes are for crime."
I don't agree with the second half.
No, not all lanes are for crime.
I don't want to endorse that message.
All right, guys, before we go, would you all hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel? If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch this show, you can also rate and review the podcast on those platforms, which is a great way to help us out. So thank you so much for that. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at @popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see y'all then. Bye. Everybody.